everyone, I am about to do a full tomato harvest this morning and I wanted to take you along with me. We are in full tomato production at the moment and everything is ripening and getting ready to harvest. All of the tomato plants are starting to look a little sick at this point as well. So I just wanted to take you along, show you how everything looks and harvest some tomatoes with you. So I grow all of my tomatoes on trellises, and if you want to see how I do that, I recently posted a video on it and I will link it in the description below and put a little thing where you can access that video as well. So I have everything growing down this trellis here and we're just gonna walk down the line and harvest everything. All right, let's get started. So I got my basket. I think I might start with some of the bigger ones and then come back to the cherries. This is blueberry and this is blue goldberry, but we'll come back to them. I've got a bunch of basil and herbs growing in the front. So it's scheduled to rain in a few hours, so I'm trying to get out here and harvest these tomatoes before it rains because I don't want them to expand anymore and split open. Plus it's better to harvest them when the day is hot because it helps with the sugar absorption. So I'm trying to get out here and get these tomatoes before anything happens. And I will say I didn't put any markers out here when I grew these tomatoes. I kind of am familiar with the varieties that I'm growing. Some of them I may not be able to tell the difference, but for the most part, even so, now that they're, you know, producing, I know what everything is. This first one right here, so the only two that I have that look like this are either Dr. Weiss, which I'm hoping go away, bug. So the only two that I'm growing that look like this are either Kellogg's Breakfast or Dr. Weiss. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. And they grow these big, beautiful tomatoes. Look how gorgeous. The thing I've noticed about these tomatoes is they're always some of the largest tomatoes that I grow out of the varieties that I've been growing. So that's always really fun because these are always huge and they produce a really beautiful orange tomato. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So this one back here, I'm pretty sure is pink Berkeley tie-dye. It's got this beautiful red striping, or green striping really, as it turns red. So this is a Wild Boar Farms variety. They're really, really cool. And it's very similar but different to the heirloom green zebra, which you can see here right next to it, that also has striping, but it's a yellow tomato with some green striping. And when you always have green tomatoes, you can always do a little squeeze test or anything that's like a colored tomato just to make sure that it's ripe. This probably could have gone a little bit longer actually, but it's okay. It'll still ripen on the counter. So that's such a pretty tomato. So you can see them together, the difference in these tomatoes. So before they started ripening, I couldn't quite tell which was which, but now that they are, I can. So this one's ready too. Another pink Berkeley. Seeing a lot of holes, which is not very exciting. Hopefully I can cut around whatever is getting these. I need to get on that back side because I see one right there. This is ready. And this one's definitely ready. All these bugs. So moving down the row, this is a Black Beauty tomato. It's one of the darkest tomatoes in the world. They have great flavor, and that black is from the presence of anthocyanins, which is the same compound that's in blueberries and blackberries that makes them so nutritious. This is also another Wild Boar Farms variety. I grow a lot of his varieties because they are the most unique and most beautiful. And so typically while it's not ripening, it's got a black top and a green bottom, and then as it ripens, it starts turning red. It's a little cat face from a fused blossom, but very cool tomatoes. And a lot of them are ripe. Even if something is cat-faced and from a fused blossom, you can still kind of cut around that area and still utilize the tomatoes. So if cat facing is something that you have an issue with or something that you don't like in a tomato, you can pull off the fused blossoms as they're starting to set. I find my curiosity kind of gets the better of me, and I want to see what they end up looking like and see how big the tomatoes can get. Although I think I let too many do that this year, and so that was just my own fault. But you can always pull off the blossoms. It's pretty easy to tell which ones are the fused blossom. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little sad about this because they're feeling like almost all of them are ready, and this will kind of be the end of tomato season, which makes me a little sad because there won't be that many left. Wow. That one's not, well, yeah, might as well take it because it'll just ripen on the counter and just be another few days. So you can see on these plants, they're all starting to get sick, which is normal for this time of year here in Florida. I know if you saw sickness on plants by this time in northern places, that would be unusual, but here, that's kind of what I've come to expect. Moving on, this is Costu Ludo Genovese. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. It is an Italian heirloom variety, and it's fluted and really gorgeous. I love the way that these look. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to pull off that green one. Fried green tomatoes are my future, I guess. So they have this nice little fluting, which is really, really cool. And I have found that they really grow in large clusters like this. It's been kind of difficult to figure out how to harvest them, like I just showed. It's hard to get them apart from what has been ready and what isn't. Aren't these cute though? I love these. Can't beat a classic red tomato, you know? See, I'm not sure how to harvest this. I might need some shears or something for this. I think this might be fused. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I need some shears. Alrighty, this is looking like a really beautiful basket. And some of them are harvesting not quite ripe, but they'll ripen on the table, and I want to get them before any kind of bugs do. I left a couple, but... So this is a Paul Robeson tomato, I'm pretty sure. Robeson, I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly as well. As far as tomato coloring would go, I would say these are kind of like a chocolatey color. They're not black like a blue beauty or a black beauty, and they're not red, but you can tell they're red. So I would say, like you see in comparison, they're not orange, they're not red, they're not black. They're kind of chocolatey to me. One's got some cracking, which is okay. And there are a pretty good amount of them ready. They're so cute. Oh, I can see little worms on these. I'm glad I'm getting these. Also, if you're watching me pile these tomatoes on top of each other, yes, I know that it's better to harvest them in a flat where they won't get, you know, bruise each other or mess anything up, but all of my baskets are full and I'm just working with what I got. Also, can we take a quick second to appreciate these sunflowers which are just coming in? How fun of a little backdrop are these? So much fun. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab the rest of them down here. even if they're not fully ripe. They'll be close enough. I think I'm gonna need a larger basket already. I haven't even made it halfway. So this beautiful tomato is called a Blue Beauty. It's very similar to the Black Beauty, but not quite as much black, I have found. It does have some cracking, but these are really pretty too. Also a Wild Boar Farms variety. He develops the most fun tomatoes, I would say. I'm gonna harvest these because they're cracking and we're about to get a lot of rain. Okay, I need a new basket. All right, I gotta empty this out. Cucamelons, all the squash. I need this. All right, basket number 2. I just didn't want to totally overload this one, but I have a lot more. Uh-oh, that looks rotten. Costoluto Genovese, fluted tomatoes. I find these are the most difficult to harvest. So fun though. Take this one close enough. Over here we have some more Paul Robeson. Ooh, that is not fun. Dadgummit. So over here we have some Paul Robeson. I think I might walk around the back to get these. Oh, that's not looking good. I would love to know, do your tomatoes also come in all at one time? Like everything just ripens pretty much at once? I think I've had maybe one smaller basket of tomatoes before this, but then they all ripened like within the next week. They're all ready. Okay, again, we have some cherries, but I'll come back and explain what those are at the end so that they don't get squished at the bottom. This is more pink Berkeley tie-dye. More green zebra. How did I manage to plant both of these right by each other? Uh-oh, that looks kind of bruised. So here's another Black Beauty. I think this one's ready. So this one's almost entirely black with just a little bit of red. A little bit of cracking. And so this one's not ripe. You can see the green on the bottom and tell that it hasn't been ripening yet. Let me feel this one. That doesn't feel ripe yet. It's got a little something happening there. Okay. Grab this. down here. Ooh, look at that, pretty. Go ahead and grab that. So this is another either Kellogg's breakfast or, let me get that off. I've just been loving these big orange tomatoes. It's got a little blemish right there. Hopefully, it looks a little eaten. Hopefully it's fine. So these are San Marzano tomatoes. Really love these for salads, along with cherries. Really fun. Some more Coscioluta Genovese, some more Paul Robeson. The most delicious smelling lemon basil ever. Oh my gosh, I'm so in love with that. Bunch of basil. Look at this, how pretty. Wow. So much fun. Isn't that just so pretty? I love that. So in addition to disease, I think I have a tomato hornworm, and I'm not even worried about it at this point because all the tomatoes are pretty much ripening. But if it were earlier on, I'd be very concerned about that. So here's some more blue beauties. Why do they keep doing this? So I just picked this up and heard the basket snap under the weight of all of these. It's a little concerning. Whew. Put these right there. Okay, now I'll just use this basket and we will finally move on to the cherries. This is a blue gold berry, which is very similar. They've grown different this year than I'm used to in the past. I haven't seen them get quite this big before. It's very similar to the blue berry, which turns red. Oop. So this is red, a blueberry, and a blue goldberry. So these are both Wild Boar Farms Broadgates varieties as well. And then this one also is 2, and it's called Napa Chardonnay. It is a completely gold tomato. So I'm just gonna throw those in there. Dropped one. Wow, you guys, look at all of these tomatoes. Aren't they so beautiful though? This is why I love growing tomatoes. It's right up there with growing flowers to me, just because of how unique and beautiful and so much fun they are to grow. And there's so many different varieties, different heirlooms. It's just so much fun and so worth taking the time to learn how to grow good tomatoes. I know a lot of people tend to have issues with growing tomatoes. I can't tell you how many people I've heard tell me that they have never been able to grow tomatoes and they don't know why, but I have done a ton of videos on growing tomatoes, how I trellis them, everything you need to know about growing them. I've done another full tomato harvest last year with some similar, probably a lot of the same varieties, but that was in raised beds, whereas I'm in ground gardening here, but it's all very, very similar. I use the same tomato growing methods every single year, and I always get really good results. So check those out. I will link everything below. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me today and harvesting these tomatoes. It's so humid and hot out here, especially since it's about to rain. So I'm going to go inside. I think we're going to be making some salsa and tomato sauce. So thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. Until next time. Bye, you guys.